Dear Daji,
Hi, Vasco.
it's a great pleasure and honor to be here speaking with you.
My pleasure as well.
So, for today, I have some ideas, some questions, and maybe let's start with a simple one. So, looking at the world, the state of the world, what breaks your heart?
Too many things. Mutual trust is the number one cause. There's no base left anymore. So it's crumbling. Person you love the most today, you're not very sure if the same relation will continue tomorrow. The melting down of family values, relationships at all levels. Internal within yourself as well as between the families, within the families. And then consequences of society, nation, and the world at large. The fundamental cause being distrust.
Distrust in what or in
Mainly starts with yourself. You can't trust yourself. So you don't trust others. And it's a chain reaction.
and why do you think people don't trust themselves? What is the kind of the cause that is at the root of that?
Oh, there are many causes, many failures. You attempt something and you fail. And we attempt so many things at the same time. We are like children in a toy shop. I used to hear a song in Hindi when I was in my childhood. कोई दिल में है, कोई नजर में है, किसे प्यार करो, किसे छोड़ दो. It means I have someone in my mind and someone in my heart. I don't know whom to love. We are torn apart. Same thing story. Like child in a toy store. Too many choices. Simple thing, phones. Oh, if you can afford, sky is the limit. When you cannot afford, you are frustrated. Because you have to make a limited choice.
There's this pressure from the society.
And then you start comparing with others. Oh, I wish I was like him. I wish I had such a job. And then discontent starts with what you already have. So, there is no way out to this. Unless and until at an individual level, people start recalibrating themselves.
And how can they do that? What is your suggestion for people to start kind of recalibrating themselves?
Is it that easy? Person has to want it first. Do you really want to recalibrate and rethink over your position and try to change your approach to your own life? I mean, you're not trying to change anyone else. Let me give one small example. It's not an example, it's an argument, logical argument. Can I enjoy if there is so much of disturbance around me? If there is so much of restlessness, turbulence in a family environment, can I enjoy? I doubt it. So prerequisite is there should be peace around before I can truly enjoy the relationship. Such is the case also within myself. If I am turbulent within myself, however joyous atmosphere may be outside, I will not be able to appreciate it. So, harmony starts from within, then within the members of the family. So, harmony is a prerequisite before you can arrive at peace. Peace is the strata, fundamental thing, which gives rise to many other good things. Enjoyment, love, the offshoot arising out of peace, peaceful heart. And as I said, peace cannot be there without harmony. And harmony cannot be there without contemplative mind. Can you have a contemplative mind without focused mind? Without it. Can you have focused mind without rightful thinking, correct thinking? And how can you train your mind to think correctly? Meditation. Now you can join the dots. Meditation can lead you to true happiness in life.
About meditation, so nowadays especially in the West, we speak a lot about the word meditation. Is kind of everyone speaks about meditation, and there are different types of meditation. We hear a lot about mindfulness, for instance, other types of meditation, heartfulness. So how do you define meditation? What is for you kind of from your point of view, what is really meditation at its real core?
Well, you can tackle this subject in many, many different ways. Etymologically, if you see, it is from meditat. Medicine also is from the same root. Medicine means something that can heal your physical body. Right? Meditation can heal your soul, heal your spirit, the wounded spirit process. And when you say, what is meditation? They try to define what is meditation. Simple definition of meditation is to think repeatedly on one object. Okay. There is premeditated murder also. He is meditating on executing certain plan. Right? A boy thinking of a girl constantly 24/7 is also kind of meditation. A businessman trying to earn a lot of money is constantly thinking on how to make money. So many ways.
Wanting the next mobile phone or whatever.
So, but the real approach in yogic meditation is the object of meditation is no longer worldly. It is something very profound, very sublime, very subtle, very pure, very reverential. It is godly in nature, divine in nature, nothing less. And even if you are satisfied temporarily with whatsoever it be, your riches, your health, your wealth, your romance, your acquisitions, still at the root of it all, there will always be some lack. You have billion, you have trillion, where is it going to end, right? Friends after friends after friends after friends. When is it going to ever end? You feel frustrated at some point in life. And answer is, the soul has enjoyed the original balance so much. It has that memory of the original state. Original state that prevailed before the creation.
So that's kind of
it lingers on. See? So until that original state returns back, it remains restless, despite of all the acquisitions.
Yeah, actually we have now in the world 8 people that have as much as half of the poorest people in the world. It's kind of insane. And probably those people want to have more and more and more because there is this restlessness at the core. Is that it? Kind of.
I don't think they ever aimed at it. For example, Bill Gates, right? Did he aim for to become the richest or the wealthiest man in the world? I don't think so. He followed his dream. Create some program which can be utilized throughout the world and make their lives better. Outcome was something that made him rich. That's a different story. That's an outcome of it. But people take a wrong lesson out of this. Steve Jobs also, I don't think he ever dreamt to become one of the wealthiest. He wanted to do the best he could, best design, best product. So, same thing. It's in line with principles of Gita, I would say. Don't focus on fruits. Focus on perfect actions. Better consequences will be automatic, it will be natural. But moment you think of the end, I have to be this, I have to be that, I don't think you can succeed. Because it is all I. Ego at any cost must prevail. That itself is a wrong step to start with.
Mhm. I had some a sentence. I think it was from a scholar called Alan Wallace. It was saying something like that. Pleasure is about what you take out from the world, and happiness is about what you give to the world, what you serve, kind of giving your services to the world. Do you think that with this kind of practices, when we kind of connect with that state, that initial primordial state of the soul, that we are more able to give our gifts and serve the world? What is your idea about that?
Well, when the original state is the vacuum itself, when there was nothing, imagine for a moment what could have been there prior to this creation, prior to all these beautiful stars and galaxies came into being. When you think of the world without suns and planets and galaxies, no birds, no human beings, total emptiness. The original state cannot tolerate anything else into it. It must remain empty. Even a desire to become happy itself will spoil your happiness. Desire to even be God realized will spoil your God realization. You have to surrender to that emptiness.
And that at the same time is a challenge for the mind, no? Because at least the mind normally wants to be occupied by things. At least nowadays people are always kind of trying to fill the minds, kind of to fill the gap with external things. So for some people, probably hearing about emptiness and that state of vacuumness can be kind of, oh, the mind doesn't want to go there. I want to kind of, how can we kind of explain this state of emptiness in a way that is kind of appealing to the mind? Do you have any idea for that?
Emptiness will never appeal to mind. It wants to prevail. Huh? And second thing, mind can never feel it. Mind can only think. And there's not a fault of mind. I cannot tell my hand to do something which is not used to. I cannot order my eyes to hear or my lips to, smell something. It is its natural role. Mind is to think. Nothing wrong with thinking. Correct thinking will help us. Mind is our best friend actually. He's not our enemy. It's not our enemy. Regulated mind can be your best friend. Mind reveals many things. It's a God-given instrument. We have to make use of it. See? And only way we can tame the mind is through meditation again. See, people often say, "I like to be zombie. I like to be,
Numb
in a state
myself,
of
numbness.
that is not the purpose of meditation. See?
Mm-hmm.
The results of meditation, consequence of having done the meditation properly, offers us many spectrums of results depending upon our prior attitude before meditation, kind of meditation we adopt. I cannot meditate on some ballerina, for example, and say, oh, I want to be enlightened. You want more and more ballerinas than in life, say. Object of meditation has to be very clear. And also, what takes us through the process of meditation and helping us arrive at different level of consciousness. Let me bring one fundamental principle of science, physics, Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Is very often quoted in science and physics world, where it is said that if you want to measure the speed of electron around the nucleus, it is possible, but while you measure the speed, it may not be possible to measure its position or locate its position. You may be able to locate the position, but then you'll fail in measuring the speed of it. And this is known as uncertainty principle in physics. But it has started on a wrong footage, wrong assumption. If I have the ability to do both, what prevents me from doing it? But the beam that tries to measure the speed of electron, it cannot be bigger than the electron. It must not be. And where will you find the beam subtler and smaller in particle than the electron? Because whatsoever you send to electron is bigger than electron. So it cannot measure it. The object that measures must be subtler than the object that is being measured. So, though it's very interesting principle, but it started on a wrong footage, wrong hypothesis, wrong beliefs, wrong assumption. If you had taken a beam which is more refined than electron, then you would be able to do both, speed as well as the position. Now, what assumptions do we make with spiritual approach? The first assumption is mind must not think, which is incorrect. How would you think of divinity? How would you perceive? How would you move from thinking to feeling? It's the first step. Mind has to be cooperative. Second thing, people think that they have to be in zombie-like state to arrive at samadhi. Samadhi, according to our ancient Rishi Patanjali, this is pasana tulya, means it's a stone-like state, right? In the beginning as well as in the end, where you're not responsive. You're gone inside. But that sort of state also we don't want.
Just a beginning kind of.
It's a beginning. In the beginning days, you might go so deep within your consciousness, and this depth in which you are swimming is not familiar to you. That's why you say, oh, I was lost, but I don't know where I was.
Yeah, and some people even think that they fell asleep.
And that's the magic of this heartfulness way, where we use transmission, yogic transmission, we call in Sanskrit pranahuti. And you asked me the question, how is it different from other meditations? Even though you may meditate on the heart, you may not achieve as much depth as if you would rather use pranahuti as a vehicle, a trainer who can transmit, and with this transmission, your awareness is allowed to expand or go deeper. Either it has to touch the superconsciousness or submerge into subconsciousness. That means whatever available consciousness we are working with, we are interacting with, if I am able to go higher or have access to the higher level of consciousness, superconsciousness, I am able to go up. At the same time, I am able to go down into subconsciousness. Then there is some beauty to it. And this is possible very easily because of this pranahuti, because of this transmission.
It's kind of a catalyst.
And I always encourage one and all, okay, like you try out an experiment with, control group or a control study group, and something that you want to experiment with. In pharma industry, they say, okay, if I have to measure up the medicine that is beneficial, curing my headache, right? So I measure up that with the placebo. I have 50 people taking medicine, 50 people taking placebo. If 50 here and 50 here makes no difference, then the drug is useless. Out of this 50, if 40 gets the headache cured, that means the drug is good. It's 80% success. Right? So like that, when we meditate on the heart, placebo, versus meditate on the heart with yogic transmission, and see the difference. In the medical field, they expect 80% result, maybe 90% result. I am telling you, with this transmission, there will be 99.99% results in shifting your consciousness. Guaranteed.
And do you think people are aware of that, or consciousness is kind of being shifted, and not necessarily people are aware of the shift?
They will feel definitely, like if you are aware, mindfully aware in the beginning, okay, this is the state of my being, my consciousness. Now, let me go through this process of meditation with transmission. Okay. And you try this experiment, remain open to whatsoever happens inside, and be prayerful. Pay attention to your heart and say, my God, I don't know how you are. I never seen you. I like to feel your presence. I like to experience your presence. It should be heartfelt prayer kind of a thing. See? And that's all. That's all you require to do. And transmission, I will do my part in that. You sit and just be with this attitude,
and then
and see what
let
happens.
go.
Let go. At the end of meditation, which is generally 25 minutes or 30 minutes, you'll be able to see what has happened during the meditation and the consequence, the result of this half-hour process. I'm telling you, you can never regret.
I have no doubt about that.
Yeah. So that's the beauty of Heartfulness way. And besides that, we have many other elements to this practice. You must have heard about the arguments about cognates, recognition, impressions. They are related things. Suppose if I show you something, do you know this item? And then you say, oh no, I don't know this item. I never saw this before. Now when I show you a particular item, what happens before you say, I never seen this before? Your mind scans it. It looks for if there are any cognates in my mind.
Okay.
If the cognates were there.
It's like a memory?
Exactly. Then you'll say, oh, the cognates are there. Memory is there. It looks familiar. Right? Now many animals, right after the birth, or creatures like fish, right? Moment you take it out, it starts shuddering. But moment it hatches out and it looks for water and goes towards the sea, turtle for example, automatic. Who taught them? We may argue that, oh, okay, they didn't have a training in this life. Maybe they had the cognates in the previous one, which makes them do these things. Well, anyway, whether you believe in past life or you don't believe, it's immaterial. Whatever I am today is the result of my past. If I had not studied pharmacy, I could never have become a pharmacist. Simple as that. Right? If I had not worked towards something, the consequences of which I would not have been in a position to enjoy. So we are the product of our past. Right? Those impressions that I had about, let's say, certain individual, or the bad experience out of business with you, then I hold on to you and say, oh, Vasco is like this. I have this impression about him and this was so successful, for example.
Okay.
And or you can have a negative experience and you label a person, but that person is never static. Persons are dynamic, more dynamic anything in the world.
But the cognate is fixed.
Cognates are fixed, but we can change the cognates. What spoils the relationship? It's not the memory, but the emotional baggage that we carry with the memory. In Sanskrit, we call them sanskars. Sanskars are not memories or smriti. They are impressions with emotions, are samskars. So I would like to define samskar as emotions plus memory. You can have a memory, but if emotions are removed from it, then you are released, you are free.
So you still can remember, but it's not affecting here.
It's not affecting.
Okay.
The aspect of forgiving and forgetting. See? You can forgive because you have a big heart, but you are helpless in forgetting. Not that you hold other person responsible now. You let go of it, you have forgiven, and there is expansion in your consciousness. You are happier. The other person is also happy. The relationship continues, goes on forever, we'll say. We all make mistakes. We are all defective individuals in some way. We are imperfect individuals. And when two or many imperfect individuals come together, there is going to be noise. There is going to be chaos. But the understanding isn't good enough. That if I carry emotional baggage, it helps no one. And with this heartfulness way, we have a method how we can get rid of this emotional baggage. It's not that you want to forget the past. You want to get rid of the emotional baggage and learn something out of it. Past always has to teach us something. For example, you went to a theater with your girlfriend, right? And you had an argument there, which almost broke the relationship. You happen to visit the same theater again, right? And you had argument again with her, and the relation now ended. Third time you go to a movie with somebody else, you'll have memory as well as the emotional thing, everything coming together. It spoils your experience when you had gone with another person third time. See?
So the memory, the emotional memory from the past
ruins your new experience.
Yes.
So idea is to get rid of this emotional baggage we call samskars. And samskar is the main thing that creates our future.
So you're speaking about we are being influenced by these past patterns, by these impressions, samskaras, and that brings me to a model called Theory U from someone called Otto Scharmer. So he's a teacher at the MIT, and he created this Presencing Institute. So he argues that most of our problems in the world now, they come because we humans operate a lot from this way of being, which is operating from the past, operating based on those past patterns. So we are just kind of downloading, kind of autopilot mode. We are just chasing things. Like there is this parable in I heard from a teacher of mine, Arawana Ayashi. She's a teacher in the Shambhala Buddhism, and she said something like, if you throw a stick to a dog, the dog chases after the stick. But if you throw a stick to a lion, the lion looks to see who threw the stick. So most of us are like dogs. We are just chasing after things, so based on our past patterns and so on. But Otto argues that it is possible to operate from a different level, a more profound level, a level that implies opening the mind, opening the heart to connect with other people and with the world, and opening the will, our action in the world, and start operating from a deeper place. He calls it the source, kind of operating from wholeness and operating from what he calls from the future as it emerges, instead of being just conditioned by the past, just connecting to that place of wholeness. So you spoke about that cleaning helps us to remove those impressions, those samskaras that are making us download. So how in heartfulness, do you have anything to go deeper into that that place of wholeness, that place of source. So what are your thoughts about that?
All these aspects of patterns we live by, old patterns. Let me give you one small example. If you're on a wrong track, let's say you're on a drive from place A to B, and somewhere halfway you say, oh, it's a wrong road I have taken, wrong expressway. What do?
You turn back.
You take a U-turn.
U-turn.
U-theory is perfect. You must make a U-turn. But if a person is egoistic, he's fighting with his wife. No, I know my road. I know where I'm going. So you
I know S direction. I'm not being to S directions.
Yeah. He'll not only fight but miss the destination, waste a lot of time, and then finally goes to the wrong place, C, and comes back. Oh no, he can't even go back to B because you wasted so much of time. Go back home now. See where you were. There is no room for change. So if we hook on, if we remain satiated, satisfied with our old patterns, though you know it's all wrong, I have taken a wrong turn, it's a wrong lifestyle, it's a tragedy. So person who wants to transform himself, fast forward the future into the present, which is so better, then he'll have to become more alert. He'll have to become more aware. It's not like throwing a stick at a dog or at a lion. You are throwing a stick at a human being. How that human being will either react or respond, it depends on individual nature. See? And heartfully, you will always remain responsive. Meaning, if you're presencing, if you're centering of your being, if your awareness is towards, you want to feel something, you're being more compassionate with your heart. You're being more empathetic with maybe, though the stick has come from this direction, maybe it's something, there is some good in it. Let me see how I can take advantage of this situation and evolve from here and learn some lesson out of this. You will have no room to blame others. You have heard about Gandhian philosophy, right? He is very well known throughout the world for non-violence. And that too is very limited to my heart. Non-violence means you don't do such an act, don't perform such an act that will hurt others, either emotionally or physically. And you're happy with it. Somebody is dying on the street. You're not hurting that person anymore. You don't pay notice. You keep walking. It's not enough being non-violent. What's the next step? I see some very suffering human being on the road. Where is my compassion? I shouldn't be happy with not furthering the violence. I shouldn't be content with being non-violent. There is still one missing step. Where is my compassion? So compassion, if it is played out well, then need to become non-violent is redundant. You are now evolving to a higher level. And what is the purpose of compassion? The person who is making use of compassion is not looking for any purpose or an ultimate aim out of compassion. That's his nature. He cannot help but remain compassionate. And how can we become more compassionate without any further goal? People say these days, if your heart is empathetic, if you are considerate, if you are compassionate, then there will be many happy and joyous hormones, joy hormones or happy hormones will be released from your brain. So much of neurotransmitters will be there to make you happy and joyful. So you're looking for a reward.
Yeah, it's the wrong approach.
Wrong approach, yes.
Doesn't come from that deeper place of...
Even if you get a headache, out of this compassionate act where you had slogged yourself in saving someone's life, for example, there will be so much of joy at the end of it. Though you may have been on the verge of losing your hand or you have a headache, the joy is unparalleled in nature. Imagine mother's pain delivering a baby. There's so much of smile at the end of it. Some mothers, they sometimes while delivering, they cry and they smile. They cry and it's such a mixed feelings. It's the whole thing. And one gentleman has said that when the mother starts milking and starts feeding a baby, other hormones, happy hormones or joyful hormones start secreting in the blood, rewarding mother for feeding the baby. But is mother aware of all these things? That I am being rewarded for such
I'm just
a
going
sacrifice?
to do this to have a...
Yeah. So if we put ultimate thing like, I'm going to have more serotonin in my bloodstream because I'm compassionate, then God helps you. Person who likes to contribute, and if they have ulterior motive behind it, it is still egoistic, selfish motive. And selfish person cannot create any future.
But do you think it's possible for some people to start, let's say, having the wrong approach? Let's call it the wrong approach, that they decide to do a compassion attack because they read something that, I'm going to feel well, dopamine. Let's call it the selfish altruists, kind of. The Dalai Lama used that term, selfish altruism, kind of.
Oh, yeah, does
he said that if we are going to be selfish, at least that it would be a selfish altruism, something like that. So he plays a joke with that. So do you think it's possible that someone starts feeling well, and in the process of doing that, he realizes that it's, I can do this as the right approach. So he approach it just to receive the reward, but then in the process, he starts being transformed. Do you think it's possible or not?
It's always something that starts somewhere has to end or culminate into something. Though I may have started on a wrong footage, for example, being selfish, altruist. Even a dog is altruistic, I give a small, very nice example from my childhood stories. There is a herd of goats and there is a shepherd dog. In the evening, wolf arrives. Wolf arrival means one or two goats will be sacrificed if goats are not careful. But the dog starts barking and, giving warnings and, start, running around. What happens there? He creates chaos and the wolf returns. Is this not altruistic act? If dog can do it, why can't we? Is this selfish act? No. No altruistic act can be called selfish. It's paradoxical otherwise. But as you started our discussion that, compassion, if I display compassion out of a need for elevated serotonin, so it's okay, we are playing with words. He'll have his serotonin dose. But then he'll realize that it's okay now, no point asking for it, it will always happen. And then you'll wait for what is next, what is now beyond compassion. So slowly, instead of having the acts of altruism, having the empathetic act, or having a compassionate heart, you become all these things. It's no longer a process. You no longer love. You no longer are being compassionate. You become that quality. And when we become that quality, what happens to our ego? It takes a backseat. Because what happens in compassion again? Passion and compassion, they're polar opposites. What happens in passion? One tends to take the advantage of other. Ultimate and terrible and horrible example is rape, where other person is forced, right, to satisfy his or her compassion. But in compassion, you are ready to sacrifice yourself for the sake of other. Who teaches you this? No one teaches you this. It's you. I mean, yourself.
It's a nature, no?
It's your nature. Yeah. And how to arrive at such a beautiful nature? How to transform passion into compassion?
Is it an arriving or a return to that state?
I lost your question.
Is it arriving to that state, that natural state, or a returning back to a natural state that's already here?
Yeah, natural. It's a returning back to your original state. Well, first of all, you have to understand why this person is behaving in this way. Why is he so head-bent on taking advantage of others? Right? Be it for sensual pleasures or be it for worldly possessions, cheating partners or stealing some things or creating a robbery here and there. How to change such individuals? And you hear stories from, God knows, ancient stories are there, so many thieves and, so many rapists, and how they invade places and wars are created. Only on these two things. If we broadly can categorize the problems of humanity as this: acquisitions, worldly acquisitions and sensual pleasures, there is nothing more than this.
Okay.
Okay. So it's very simple, I think. It's very simple.